So.
Status report. What's going on?
The ABMS is being hacked. It's refusing to respond to our commands.
What? How could someone take over the Air Force's battle management system?
This can't be happening. No average hacker could break through this system's security. It's the very foundation of the Army.
Analyze the situation and take back control. Also, connect me to the Minister of Defense.
Right away.
What's happening?
We have an emergency.
We have many emergencies. I can't even contact the Prime Minister. What is it this time?
Someone has taken over the Air Force's management system. We've lost control over it.
What? And what does that mean?
We no longer have control over our unmanned vehicles. They're in the hands of whoever commandeered the system. They might attack indiscriminately, even civilians. They could even cross borders and wage war on other countries.
What?
Japan alone is host to about 500 of these vehicles, and we have no means of stopping them.
Ooh.
The 28 MQ-67A units at Misawa are scrambling, but Misawa issued no order to sortie.
The 15 units at Hyakuri have scrambled as well. We've lost control of over 30 more.
So far, Chitose, Matsushima, Iruma, Komatsu, Komaki, and Miho have reported that their MQ-67As can no longer be controlled.
We've received contact from the U.S. They're absolutely convinced that the hacker who took over the system is Cicada 3301.
Ende vom letzten Stream. Ich glaub schon, ja.
So we're in the hands of a wizard. What is he after?
All units are heading towards Tokyo. It doesn't seem that he intends to intercept the asteroid, though.
Control! We have completed analysis of the target coordinates set for all MQ-67As.
Put them on the monitor.
That's...
I see. Their target is... Asuma Soga!
It's not my fault. This isn't my fault. I'm not responsible, so go right ahead. Kill him. Is Soga dead? Did they get him or not? Biosigns detected. He is alive. What? Damn you, monster!
At the same time, news broke around the world that the Pope was about to make an emergency statement. It was late at night. At the Vatican, popes almost never announce speeches at times like this.
This world will not meet its end with the asteroid.
The Pope's speech opened with the promise of hope. But the man had more to say.
The true end shall come approximately 11 days hence. We were granted this truth by Our Lady of Fatima some 130 years ago. January 19th, 3:14 and 7 seconds, Coordinated Universal Time. As foretold by our Lord, that is the moment when all shall come to ruin. Until that moment comes, let us join hands and find peace in prayer.
First the approach of a devastating asteroid, and now the Pope himself was declaring that another end was still to come. Regardless of nationality, faith and race, his words were enough to instill panic in all mankind. A bunch of streamers were broadcasting Kent's drone attack on Asuma, albeit from a safe distance. The attack raged on. I'd been watching for over 30 seconds and it hadn't stopped for a moment. We could hear the explosions from here, and their vibrations reached the ground we were standing on. Some of the buildings Asuma had messed up were barely standing, they were starting to collapse. That felt like a battlefield. It also felt like I'd gotten a glimpse of how brutal Kent could be. I realized how weird it was that Asuma could deflect all these attacks and stay untouched.
He looks like he's hurting.
The streams were a way off, but I could just make out Asuma. It seemed like he was crying, begging for someone to help him.
Hey, shouldn't you two get out of there? If the asteroid hits, you'll be underwater. There's no point running now.
We couldn't get away, and if we made the wrong turn somewhere, we could end up getting caught in one of those attacks.
Also, the Army's attacks are causing network disturbances all over. It's making the panic even worse. There's traffic everywhere, and the infrastructure is starting to fail.
Ross? You're cutting out.
There's network disturbances. The 23 wards and the area around Kawasaki are all...
Network disturbance? Was it cause of the army drones?
All right, everyone. Time to talk.
Miss Kumar, how's the situation?
Listen up, everyone. All seems good with Estrella, but I can't say the same for the situation with the Space Guard.
Hackers from around the world seemed like they were making good progress, though.
First, there's the network disturbances. The US is suffering them too. We were reporting our progress just fine, but after I got that data, we lost contact with each other. It might be tricky to connect with them again. All things considered. One more thing. To minimize the damage from X-2038, we need to hit it with at least 9 Space Guard missiles. We need to issue a command to move them into X-2038's trajectory. The timing for that command is pretty strict too, and I can't find a facility we can use to send it when we need to. The global panics made it hard to contact most comms facilities. I tried places on the ground and even comsats, but I couldn't find anything we could use.
What if they just adjusted the trajectory of the Space Guard itself? Would it shift the window a little? How about using multiple commands? Momo asked before I could get the words out.
They said they tried to look into those options. But if we tried those, we'd run out of either time or fuel. They're not viable options.
I see.
I figured the SA-4D could be used to change the trajectory of the Space Guard missiles too. But apparently that was unrealistic.
The SA-4D have been deactivated too.
Yeah.
SA-4D.
But it's not like they're completely inoperable. If we reactivated them, Maybe we could get them to attack the asteroid.
All of them? No. They're too far from each other. At most, we could mobilize a couple dozen for a simultaneous attack. But they wouldn't amass enough energy to destroy the asteroid.
Damn.
Would it be possible to hack SA-4D's core systems, then change their orbit so they could all attack at once?
That idea's worth looking into. But I'm not sure we have time.
Everyone was bringing up whatever ideas they could find, but none of them were realistic. What if I loaded again? No, I was too scared of having another attack.
One more possibility comes to mind. There's a deactivated satellite in the area that would be just right for us. Just one, though.
Huh? Really?
There was one SA-4D sat that malfunctioned during Sad Morning. It didn't attack. Did you know that?
SA-4D-0144, right?
Yes, but 0144 itself doesn't matter. A certain rumor spread regarding what happened there. Apparently, 0144's malfunction was caused by a hacker who got in using another comm sat.
I've never heard about that.
Samesies.
That was the first I'd heard of it too.
One of the people helping us out right now is involved in the SA-4D decommission project. He's my source for that rumor.
So there was a chance that the comms set could be reactivated and used to tell the Space Guard missiles to move at just the right time.
But accessing that SAT and getting the channels, passwords, and optimal comm systems would take a while. And then there's the time we'd need to secure the channel from the SAT to the Space Guard missiles. Considering all that, even if we could get that SAT up and running again, the probability of our plan working out is still low.
So that was too much of a gamble as well, huh? All this wishful thinking was getting us nowhere. But we weren't in a position to drop everything in favor of such a remote chance of success.
But there may be something we can do. What is the satellite's name?
It's called the OnWeb satellite.
Huh?
OnWeb 0023 to be more precise.
OnWeb?
Hold on.
Oh.
Never expected to hear that name here.
Hold on. Are you okay?
What's wrong?
Hey, Miss Lid, about that SAT, was it launched in 2020? And is it listed as 45136Y in NORAD's satellite catalog?
Huh? Yes to both. How do you know that?
What kind of coincidence was this? Was fate itself trolling me?
That's the satellite my dad did maintenance on.
What?
Give us the details.
OnWeb was an internet comms company, right?
Yeah, it went bankrupt 17 years ago. I found an article about it. Okay, so back then, SATCOMs-based internet wasn't practical yet. I wasn't even born then.
Me neither. I wouldn't be born for another year.
My dad worked for them as an engineer. By the time OnWeb went bankrupt, they'd already sent 70 test sats into space.
And they're still in orbit.
My dad and the other employees were dismissed with the bankruptcy. But the company applied for corporate rehabilitation law. That's why they expected the company to come back eventually. And that's also why a bunch of the ex-engineers secretly did maintenance on the 70 sats that were already in orbit. They did it so those sats would be ready to go whenever the company recovered. That day never came, but Dad and the others kept up with the maintenance.
It's like a piece of my dream, continuing to brave the skies today, even though everyone forgot about them, and they'll never be used again. The other engineers and I, we made them. We put them up there. And we're gonna remember them, look after them, until the day they burn up. That's why I still maintain it. Hey, Polon, if something happens to me, would you look after it for me? I guess this stuff doesn't make much sense to you. Sorry, Polon.
I suddenly remembered that moment when I was still young and Dad still had the light in his eyes. He stopped paying me any attention after our family had broken up, but he never stopped working on that satellite. Always with his back to me, always locked up in his room, always like that.
Don't disturb me. I'm working.
Ms. Litt had just said that someone had used the on-web set to hack.
They say that if 0144 hadn't malfunctioned, there might have been one more crater in Tokyo. At least another 5,000 casualties.
That it saved those people? The workaholic who didn't seem to give a shit about his family saved all those people? Or just...
What the hell?
Why hadn't he told me? If that was true, then he wasn't just some incompetent asshole. He was the only hacker in the world who stood against the sad morning. An event not even the most wizard-tier hackers could hold off. That was more skilled, respectable, and awesome than I ever was. He was the real hero.
Hold on. Look at this. If we can access OnWeb 0023 right away, we could use it to communicate with Space Guard missiles.
I reached into my pocket and ran my fingers across the keyboard in there. The reason why I could make a living as a hacker these days was cause my dad had taught me programming when I was still little.
You're a fast learner, son. Maybe you're on your way to becoming a wizard.
A wizard?
Uh-huh. Hackers are wizards. We can make anything happen. Make the impossible possible. That's your old man's motto right there.
There used to be so much kindness in his smiles. But after our family fell apart, I just stopped going into his room. I always just stood outside, looking at him and saying nothing. I never even tried talking to him. I turned my back on him too. And he never turned to face me. But he was a man who never let go of his ideals.
Polon, what do you want to do?
If I did something now, would that make me like Dad? Yeah, it would. And I had a motto of my own.
I won't sit idly by when someone's in need! Miss Lid, I know how to access OnWeb 0023.
Really?
There's something at my place. The equipment my dad used to maintain the SAT is still there.
We might be able to use that.
Give me a sec. I'll try accessing it.
I tried remotely accessing my dad's PC back in Nakano. But
no good. I can't connect to it from here. Cross, you're at Symphony now, right?
Yeah?
Go to my place. We're gonna need the phased array antenna for the comms.
Oh yeah, you did have an unusually large antenna.
That antenna is actually the only way to communicate with OnWeb 0023.
Alright, I'll go there right now.
I'll do whatever I can to get back to Nakano. Guys, sorry for being such a wuss back there. I'm gonna help too. I'll fight alongside you a little longer.
I glanced at Momo, then we made for the shore, where we'd moored the fishing boat we came to Odaiba aboard.
What do we do after we turn on the antenna?
We'll use my dad's PC. Its security's tight though, we'll have to bypass it.
I never looked at my dad's PC. I felt like if I did, I'd find some file revealing how he actually felt, and I didn't want to see anything like that. The PC had remained completely untouched.
If you can handle it, go ahead and hack it, Cross.
It's your dad's memento, though. Hacking it may cause it to crash and make it impossible to look inside. Ever. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
This wasn't the time to worry about that stuff. If this was the only solution we had, we couldn't afford to get hung up on the risks.
A QCDC could hack it in no time. But we can't get our hands on one of those with the comms in the state they are.
She was right. QCDC could break through an old PC security like it was tissue paper.
There's another problem, though. Even if we can establish comms with OnWeb 0023,
someone had to input the commands for position control to properly communicate with the 9 Space Guard missiles.
we'll probably need a highly skilled specialist. My dad could do it, but I can't.
I think I know someone who might be perfect for the job.
Huh? Who?
Tengen.
Yeah, he was an ex-astronaut.
Have you got through to him?
No, not yet.
Finding out that our world was simulated had shaken him up pretty bad. I could understand that, obviously. But this wasn't a good time for that old dude to be wigging out on us. I wasn't one to talk though. I'd been a mess myself until a few minutes ago.
I'll see if I can get someone else.
You do that.
We have until an hour before impact to establish comms with Space Guard. We have to get this sorted before that.
That gave me an hour to get from here to Nakano, then set up comms so we could use OnWeb 0023.
I'll handle it.
Was never gonna back down again. Tengen Ozutani sat crouching at the edge of an empty construction site. He looked over at the desolate crater. By his feet was an empty capsule that once contained some form of drug. Car horns echoed in the distance. Countless frustrated drivers were stuck in traffic. Oz had passed by many people on his way here, and all of them were panicking and desperate. Construction workers had no reason to visit the crater anymore, and the veil of silence hanging over it was at odds with the chaos outside. Looking up, he saw trails left by fighter jets. Oz could tell just by listening that the situation in Odaiba was bad. It was far from here, but he could easily hear the intense noise of combat coming from that direction. Fully composed, he reflected on how it felt to be experiencing the end of the world. It was all just digital data after all. Everything, even his own feelings, had been composed by someone else. It was the thought of this that had driven him to despair.
Found you.
It was Kaoru Zamezu. He was panting heavily. The man must have been running around searching for him.
Sure the chief of the CCO should be wasting time in a place like this?
I'll have you know I was effectively suspended after the pool hack.
Where's No-No?
She's resting in that car I parked over there. She was really worried about you too. At any rate, perhaps you could lend us a hand? We need your skills as a former astronaut.
Lend you a hand, huh? Think I'm gonna do that? The way I am now?
You don't appear to have your hands full.
Sure don't. I'm just sitting here being melancholic. I found out that the universe I'd spent all this time looking up to was make-believe. Someone made it up. Talk about a punch in the gut. What's the point of living in an artificial world? Even if we do what we can to survive, it's all gonna end in a week anyway, right? And what are the us above gonna do? Nothing. Just mess around. They might not look at our data at all. That's why there's no point in this world.
So those are your grounds for giving up on life? Please don't say such things. You sound like a mopey teenager.
It doesn't count as moping if I'm right. Right. You heard what Cicada said, didn't you?
Oz, mankind's imagination knows no limits. It's strong enough to overcome even fate. And as we speak, many people are fighting desperately against that fate.
Oz stood up and walked over to Kaoru.
Even the impulses of your soul are artificial. You're being fooled into thinking you can do something about all this.
That will only be true if we fail. If we can prove that we're masters of our fate, then our world won't be artificial anymore.
This world ain't designed for you to succeed. It's a simulation through and through. Quit dancing in the palms of their hands.
The very designs of the world are already falling apart. You saw what Asuma Soga did. Are you gonna tell me that stuff was by the book? That it followed our creator's rules?
Kaoru grabbed Oz by the chest and pulled him close. unusually a composed man. Such gesture was unlike Kaoru.
There's no better time to dance than now! Right now, you're more pathetic than Asuma Soga! Sure, he's crying his heart out and throwing a fit, but at least he's got the guts to destroy the world that's forsaken him! What about you? Are you really going to sit here and do nothing? If everything's meaningless, then there's as much meaning in trying to save it all as there is in giving it up! I say we dance! I say we dance hard! Please! Let's show the children that our world is neither fake nor artificial! That's what adults are supposed to do, right?
That idea only worked when we bought into the lie that ours was the only world.
The real end will only come when we deny our own souls. In other words, now's the time to believe our souls are real and do something about all this! I am the captain of my soul, and you of yours! We will prove that! The most important thing is what you decide for yourself! Right?
Never thought I'd hear you come out with something that childish at your age. Feels like old times.
Oz looked into the distance and sighed. The breakwater was completely destroyed. It was even worse than when Momo and I reached Odaiba. The clash between Asuma and the army had been so intense that giant waves had formed. I felt like they'd sweep me away if I got too close. Places that had been fine before dawn were now underwater, and it was hard to get anywhere without getting soaked. But we ignored how drenched we were and walked ahead. I heard explosions above. I'd lost count of them at this point. Drones were guiding down, one after another, going down. Smoke from explosions had filled the air overhead. Large pillars of water rose from the sea. They moved as if they had a mind of their own, attacking the coming drones.
Hold on. Look!
Momo pointed at a deck some distance from the shore of Odaiba. I saw a familiar boat there, the one we'd used to get here from Uminomori. It had been split in half.
Damn it. We can't use that.
This would cost us some time. We had to hurry up and find another way.
Cross, how are things at your end? No good. I can't get through to him.
The network disturbance was only getting worse. I had no idea what was going on, so the best thing I could do was focus on getting us out of here. Could we find another boat amidst this chaos? Honestly, taking a boat out onto Tokyo Bay seemed a lot like suicide at this point. Another explosion. Shockwave shook the air. I looked up.
It's falling this way!
The downed fighter spewed smoke and fire as it hurtled toward us at breakneck speed. We'd be dead in an instant if that thing landed on us.
Run!
I screamed to Momo. I tried to run as quickly as I could, but the drag of the water around my legs kept me from getting any traction.
Damn it!
Debris rained down endlessly around me. I'd die if a single piece hit me. The fight itself was getting closer and closer, like it was heading straight for us. No, it was gonna crash into us. The flaming fighter was right on top of us. I couldn't dodge it. My legs wouldn't move. Okay. Up. Soweit.
It's falling this way! Shit, shit, shit! Run! Damn it! Yeah, I get it.
Now's not the time to be scared about using it. It makes no damn sense not to. There.
Momo, stop!
We were walking to the
The
breakwater.
boat's wrecked. Let's go by land.
Okay.
Momo instantly agreed. She must have realized I had loaded.
It'll take longer, but let's use the tunnel.
Odaiba was destroyed along with the bridges leading to Uminomori and Ariake. The area leading to Ariake was especially bad. The landscape itself had changed and it didn't look like we could make it there on foot. But maybe the tunnels were still intact. 2 tunnels led to Odaiba. The Shuto Expressway's Tokyo Harbor Tunnel to Oi, and the Route 2 tunnel connecting to Uminomori Park. The latter had collapsed, though, we saw on the way here. That was why we had to use the Tokyo Harbor Tunnel. Thankfully, it was still structurally sound. There were some crashed and burning cars here and there, but nothing impassable. I looked up to see a chopper flying overhead. Was that one here to attack Asuma 2? The road inside the tunnel was a real mess. Cracks on the walls were leaking water, and vibrations strong enough they passed for earthquakes kept shaking the place. It could fall apart at any moment. Still, this was our only choice.
Let's go.
Momo strolled into the tunnel without a moment's hesitation. I followed after her, watching my step. The tunnel was about 1.3 kilometers long. Once we were through, we'd be out of Odaiba. Hoping that Cross and the gang were doing okay, we made our way through the tunnel. The road inside the tunnel suddenly began to shake so hard I could barely stand. There were intense rumbling ahead.
Hold on! Look!
Water. Was this tunnel collapsing too?
Momo, run!
We spun around and sprinted back as fast as we could, but the water was faster.
Shit, shit, shit!
It caught up to us.
Shit, shit, shit!
We were right in front of the tunnel. There was no sign of the water yet.
Let's go.
Wait,
Huh?
this tunnel's dangerous.
I looked up at the sky. A chopper was making circles up there. Thinking back, the drones Kent used to attack Asuma were all UAVs. I hadn't seen a single chopper there. Why was this one here then?
Hey.
This was the first time I saw a living human being besides Momo and Asuma since we'd arrived at Odaiba.
Tatted Baldy Builder!
What?
Wait, that wasn't his name.
Graham Kingley, you're alive?
And he was here in Odaiba?
But why?
I was pretty sure he was at the Guy Institution last night.
Asuma's transformation is partially my responsibility. Yuan aroused my suspicions, but I wasn't able to deal with them fast enough. I have to stop Asuma myself.
The chopper overhead flew down toward us. So it wasn't a drone.
Did you call it down?
Graham didn't deny it.
You're gonna fight him in that chopper? Don't you see what's happening there?
I'm a soldier. It's something I gotta do.
He was determined to take on Asuma, even if all he had was this chopper. I wouldn't let him though.
Hold on, let's get him to take us.
Yeah, we should.
I stopped Graham.
I want you to do something for us.
I have no obligation to help you.
You want to help Asuma, right? Don't force him to kill anyone else. Asuma created the asteroid, and if it falls, it's gonna kill more people than the Sad Morning. Right now, we're doing what we can to stop it. Please help us. All you have to do is take us to Nakano.
Stop an asteroid? No way you can...
Yes, he can. Holon can do it. He can do it if he uses the thing his father left behind.
Momo.
Yeah, I could do this. I had to believe I could.
Come on, Graham. You know I've made it through some pretty insane situations. Going there to get yourself killed won't help Asuma. You're just trying to find a way to go out on your own terms. But we might still be able to help him. And the world. So help us out.
Please!
Momo and I both bowed our heads. The wind and noise were intense. Momo and I struggled to stay upright. The chopper landed and a soldier showed himself.
Major! This place is dangerous! Please get inside!
Ram!
They shouted and our eyes met.
Get in. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. We're going through a battlefield.
That's fine by me. Take the shortest route.
The chopper hovered upwards.
Change of plans. I'm calling off the attack. Take us to Nakano.
Roger that. Heading to Nakano.
What is that?
Momo was looking outside. She was at a loss for words. I followed her gaze and my jaw dropped. Combat was ongoing. The sky above Shibaura was filled with smoke from the explosions. Through the smoke I could make out a bunch of floating buildings. They looked like high-rises from Tamachi or Hamamatsu. The sight was like an illusion or a mirage, but it was very real. Several huge buildings had been plucked from the surface, lifted into the skies and spun slowly in place. The buildings seamlessly transformed again and again as they intercepted the oncoming drones or consumed them entirely. Between the buildings and the pillars of water, the UAVs didn't stand a chance. And that wasn't all. The countless cars hurtling through the air had formed a vortex. Each of the vehicles moved as if it had a mind of its own. They decimated the drones. Kent was probably sending everything he could, but witnessing this, I felt like the army was gonna run out of drones before Asuma was dead. Suddenly, the chopper began to spin. I was thrown around inside and almost hit my head.
What's happening?
We've lost control! The AI can't regulate our altitude anymore! It's ignoring the routes I'm putting in! The AGM-122 lock is gone!
You're gonna lose control of the system!
Turn off the autopilots. Fly it manually.
Switching to manual control. It's not working, sir!
chopper turned around and changed direction. It was heading toward the floating buildings.
We're being taken straight to Asuma!
At this rate, he just shoot us down.
We're still fine.
I can't control it!
Turn off all systems!
I can't!
Hold on! Look!
I looked outside again and saw 3 giant pillars of water around the chopper.
Shit!
The next thing I knew, I was going up in the chopper again.
Change of plans. I'm calling off the attack. Take us to Nakano.
Roger that. Heading to Nakano.
Bram, turn off the autopilot. You're gonna lose control of this thing.
Let me take control.
Yes, sir.
Disengaging autopilot. We'll do this manually. Listen up. If you want to survive this flight, you better sit down, buckle up, and hold on.
Moment I nodded. More drones were being shot out of the sky outside. I felt shockwaves from the blasts rattling the chopper, and saw the columns of water still writhing out from between the waves.
Don't get surrounded!
Shut it!
One of the pillars came close. It whipped in our direction, slightly grazing the hull. The chopper lost altitude after the jolt, and for a moment I felt myself floating. Seconds later I thudded back down though.
You okay?
Yes!
The chopper was spinning wildly.
I'm gonna recover. Back me up!
Roger that.
Moment I could do nothing but cling to our seats as the chopper juddered harshly. Graham and the pilot both took the control column and pulled it back as hard as they could.
Raise the nose!
We were approaching the surface of the water, but moments before smashing into the bay, the chopper stabilized. We were horizontal again. A second later, another pillar burst out of the water immediately in front of us.
Don't test me!
The chopper turned sideways. The sudden movement was so intense I felt like I was inside a blender. Slamming into the inside of the fuselage over and over, I clenched my teeth to bear the pain. Still biting down, I looked outside the window and realized we were no longer over the sea. We had entered a residential area.
We got through?
It looked like Shibaura was below us. The floating buildings were shrinking into the horizon.
Mr. Graham, what's that sound?
We'd only just made it out of a crazy maelstrom, but a weird sound had me uneasy again.
It's bad. The chopper's damaged. It's gonna struggle to stay in the air.
We started losing altitude again.
We gotta do an emergency landing.
No! It just needs to take us to Nakano. Keep it going!
You dumbass, we could fall out of the sky any second.
The fate of the world depends on us getting to Nakano. Insane times call for insane behavior!
Don't blame me when we crash and burn.
Buddy, this was a suicide mission from the get-go. Just keep the ground away from us a little longer.
I cried out as they gripped desperately onto the chopper's seat in an attempt to keep Momo safe and secure. Our altitude was all over the place, but we stayed airborne as we flew over the Shinjuku crater. Nakano was close. I could only hope we'd made it all the way.
Keep us high.
I can't. We're losing power.
The chopper was in a spin. Momo and I were basically crawling on the floor, trying not to get flung around the cabin.
I'm going for an emergency landing.
But where were we? What were we gonna crash into? My place had to be closer now.
It's a school! Go for the yard!
Prepare for impact. Brace yourselves.
Held Momo's body and braced.
You guys okay?
Yeah, I think so. Nice find!
Honestly, I couldn't believe I still had all my limbs. I crawled out of the crashed, tilting chopper. I had to run the rest of the way, and right now. But the moment I looked up...
You're still struggling in vain? Why? Why aren't you giving up? Do you enjoy pissing me off? Does it make you happy?
Did you pop up here just to ask that shit? If you're gonna do that, then just delete the damn asteroid!
As if I'd do as you told me. You're always crawling and bussing around. Man, you're annoying. You're really getting on my nerves. You don't know when to quit. How many times do I have to tell people to stay out of my way?
Out of nowhere, an intense shockwave smashed into me.
Momo!
I tried to grab hold of her, but before my hands could reach her, I was sent flying and slammed into the wall of the school. I felt my bones creaking, and my body hurt so bad I couldn't get up. Momo had collapsed. She'd been thrown into a wall too.
Momo!
She was coughing up blood, but at least she was alive. The shockwave had even exploded our chopper. Where were Graham and the pilot? Had they gotten out okay? I shook my head. I couldn't afford to worry about them now. I'm not here to mess with Asuma. I have to get past him and make it home somehow. The flashbacks still scare me, but I have to load. First, let's do this on.
Oh.
What?
So this is how you predict the future.
What?
Asuma appeared instantly in front of me.
You know what? I'm deleting it.
What?
Hey! What are you doing? Stop! Stop it!
This should do it. Maybe now you'll get it through your thick skull! How meaningless everything is!
It was slipping through my fingers. I was powerless. I couldn't stop it fading.
Stop!
Asuma!
I heard a gunshot. Graham had fired at Asuma. The bullet didn't connect though. Asuma himself had already vanished like he was never there.
Shit! God damn it! What the fuck did you do? Fuck!
Hey, what's wrong?
My saves. They're all gone.
Ja, aber meine sind auch noch da.
What the hell? I can't make new saves either.
Oh.
This means I can't save or load anymore. He literally disabled me. I can't do shit.
Hey!
Graham grabbed me by my clothes.
I have no idea what any of that means, but you have something more important to do than mope around here, don't you?
Momo had stood up, despite her wounds. She was holding my hand. Blood trailed from the corner of her mouth. She must have been hurting all over. But I saw strong will in her eyes, a light that wouldn't go out without a fight.
We need to go.
Limbs deleted, powerless, as if they still had something.
You're a fast learner, son. Maybe you're on your way to becoming a wizard.
I had the programming knowledge my dad had taught me, my skills as a hacker. Graham let go of me and slapped my back.
Move! Got it!
I broke into a run. Asuma was ignoring me, so this was my chance. Enduring the pain that was raking my body, I somehow made it all the way home.
Cross!
I burst through the door to find not only Cross, but Miss Lid and Wind there too.
Hold on! You're alright!
Momo too! You actually made it in time. Wait, you both look awful.
We're okay.
You didn't load?
I can't load anymore. Asuma deleted all my saves.
He what? I see. You did good making it here.
What's the situation?
The antenna's powered up and we're currently hacking into your dad's system.
Set Cross a nod, then connected the keyboard to the PC and set about helping him.
Why are you two here?
The network disturbances are making communication tough, so we thought it better to be here just in case. Makes sense, right? Wynn's here to control OnWeb 0023's position. He said he likes video games, so I brought him along.
A retro joystick sat in front of Wind, so he was gonna use that to control the set, huh?
I'm a gamer, but not like a pro gamer.
He was really tense. Two things had to be done. Sending commands to the Space Guard missiles would be simple, as long as the channel was open. But positioning OnWeb 23 so it could open the comms channels required pro-level skill. We had to do that for 9 Space Guard missiles in total, and the transmission timing for each of them was slightly different. This meant we needed both perfect timing and enough expertise to improvise. Wind was deathly pale. He was nothing like his usual self.
You can do it, dude. Just keep telling yourself that.
Oh, okay.
He was shaking like crazy, but he nodded along anyway.
Miss Kumar, can you send me the control manual too? I want to learn it, just in case. I don't know if I'll be able to handle it, but still.
You won't be able to. Not with those injuries. If push comes to shove, I'll do it myself. You get some rest, okay?
Okay.
Hold on. The Estrella satellites are all set. Give it 15 or so minutes and they'll hit X-2038. We hacked into the Space Guard missiles too. We'll be able to control them now.
So all that was left was this, huh?
I've bypassed security. Oh, wait, not yet.
We thought we finally made it through, but there was one more barrier.
This is...
a password input. An old and simple security measure.
A password, huh?
I'll look for a way around it. But it seems this layer of security was implemented recently.
Recently? How recently?
It was added within the last 3 years.
3 years. BMI was commonplace 3 years ago. There was no reason to use a security measure as outdated as a password.
A QC-DC could probably get past this in a second, but the comm situation put them all out of reach.
The city's internet infrastructure was basically on life support. That made connecting to QC-DCs in the US tough.
Do you have an idea what the password could be?
Give me a moment to think.
Couldn't load anymore. What I could do was guess the password my dad set up.
The time window during which we have to send the commands is 3 minutes away. We'll have 268 seconds once it starts.
But then we had to set up a channel to OnWeb 23, change the set's position, connect to the 9 missiles and send them commands.
Wind, are you ready?
I'll try my best.
Wind's fingers were trembling. I could tell he was gonna give it his best shot, but he was so tense that I couldn't help but worry. Miss Lid felt the same way.
I think I'll take over.
But...
Don't worry. It's not like I'm all brains and no guts.
Even as she talked the talk, her voice was shaking as much as her hands.
Liddy, you don't have to.
Karu?
We just got here.
Nice of you to make an appearance.
Mr. Zamesu came in, followed by Nono and Oz.
Man, you guys don't know when to quit.
Tengen!
I know what's going on and what I gotta do. Pass it over here, Liddy.
All right. Right in the nick of time. Don't worry me like that.
God knows why I keep letting you guys take advantage of my soft side.
I guess you just don't know when to quit.
I guess I don't.
You good now, Oz?
You're in no position to worry about anyone else. Your voice is shaking.
Can you blame me?
He was right, I was trembling like crazy. I still had the injuries Asum had given me, and not being able to save or load anymore had me seriously spooked. I couldn't even type it properly.
Hold on, there's no time.
I know!
I didn't know the password, but I couldn't just make random guesses.
Cross, how many do-overs do I get here?
2. Mess up 3 times and it'll lock up and ignore all further commands for some time.
Get psyched, kid. Remember the grit you had the first time we met?
Yeah, gotta set the stage for you somehow, old man.
I looked around, but couldn't find anything that might have had the password on it, like a sticky note or something. I checked the drawers too. I found his employee ID card from his days at OnWeb. Looked like he'd kept it around to the end. Looked at the info on the card.
Alright.
First, I tried the employee number.
2 more tries.
So I needed to think outside the box, huh? I had to look back at the past. Focusing, I sorted through all my vague memories of Dad. What kind of stuff had he talked about? Did he ever say anything that could form a hint? My throat was dry. I wiped my sweat on my pants and put in the next password. How about this? It was the first letter of the town he'd lived in, followed by the year he moved there. Back when I was little, I heard he'd often used passwords like this.
Please.
Wrong again. A terrible thought crossed my mind. What if his password was an AI-generated mess of letters and numbers? I had no chance of guessing something like that. I'd blow the last guess and we wouldn't be able to stop the asteroid.
Are you sure you can't load anymore?
Yeah, I'm sure. I only have 1 try now.
My saves were all gone. Well, there was that weird save that had been there since the start, but that seemed too risky to try out.
Okay, calm down. Don't get worked up.
That didn't help at all. My hands couldn't stop shaking. My chest was pounding so much it hurt. I could barely breathe.
It's time! The commands have to be sent within the next 268 seconds.
Hold on.
But the more everyone pressured me, the emptier my head got. I had 1 chance left. What could I do? I couldn't think of anything else. I didn't know my dad that well. Shit. I'd come so far, but... Suddenly Oz hit me on the shoulder. The pain almost made me cough.
Deep breaths. You're not seeing the bigger picture, kid. Look around you.
Around me.
I looked around the room. This was where I'd lived since I was little. The place where I'd lived with Dad. I had memories of us here together. They came back to me.
Hackers are wizards.
My dad's favorite saying, his motto. Something he always said to me when I was a kid. It was like his legacy imprinted onto my mind.
180 seconds!
Hold on! Hold on!
Hold on!
Couldn't think of anything else. Would it really work though? Wasn't it just some answer I'd cooked up out of desperation? Was this the best I could come up with? What if it was wrong? I had no more retries. The lives of hundreds of millions depended on this. Did it matter that the world was digital? People would still die. I froze, too hesitant to press enter.
Hold on! Make up your mind and rush in there!
That's your old man's motto right there.
Yeah, that's right.
I had to make up my mind. I had to believe in myself. And believe in Dad too. Enter.
I'm in!
Yes!
Oz!
You sure took your sweet time.
Oz put on some ancient-looking VR goggles and began moving the joystick.
100 seconds!
Boss,
Tengen.
why the hell do you all sound so worried? Show this old-timer some respect. There!
He was so calm, he did what he had to do without a single hiccup.
Sending commands! And... sent! Looks like they're all on a collision course with X-2038.
We did it.
There's nothing more we can do here. Whatever will be, will be.
Oz lay down right where he was. He looked tired as hell. It was my turn to relax yet, though. Even if there was nothing else I could do. I had to see for myself whether we'd pulled this thing off. Immer noch Kapitel 9. Cool.